Kia ora, everyone. A quick video talking about the possibilities that classes and inheritance enable us to do. Let's imagine for a moment that you're writing a role-playing game, like a fantasy RPG, and you've got equipment, and you've got items, you've got potions, and let's say you want to simplify down the code that you've got for this. You've got some swords, you've got some armor, you've got some arrows, you've got some bows. Oh, ignore my funky green screening. I don't know why that's happening at the moment. No, I do know why. I just can't fix it. And all of these things are items. So you think, oh, cool. Maybe I'll write a class for a sword, and a whole nother class for a dagger, and a whole nother class for a piece of armor, and a whole extra class for a piece of footwear. And you're starting to go, man, I am repeating a lot of the same code now. So if you use inheritance, you might be able to write a class for an item. And maybe it has a method called collect. Maybe it has a method called drop. Maybe it has a method called give or trade. Okay, so maybe those are all of the things you can do with all items. Maybe you then have, oops, not a sticky note. Let's say you have another kind of item called a potion. And it has a method called use or consume or anything like that. Let's say you also have a class called equipment. And it has equip. And maybe it also has some other properties in here. Maybe it has a size or a weight. Or maybe it has like character restriction. Maybe only dwarves can use it. Maybe only wizards can use it. I don't know how your fantasy game works. Maybe it's a space one and only this certain type of alien can use it. But whatever. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. Okay, so and in equipment, you sort of get where this is going, right? In equipment, you've got some armor, and that's got a special ability, and it's got a defense property, and it's got a method called wear out or like damage. Maybe it's got some durability on it. So you're sort of getting the hang of this. Oh, these should be methods, of course. So they should be should all be functions of some kind, and some of the other ones are properties. But you sort of get the idea. Okay, but we've also got armor. We've also got weapons. And they've got attack. Or let's just say use. They've got break. Because your weapons have durability on them as well, but they wear out faster. And in the weapons, you get the idea, you've got a sword. And you can overwrite some of these. Maybe swords happen differently, and in your world they don't wear out, and so you're going to overwrite the break class. Or maybe they're very easy to break, and so you're overwriting the break class. Maybe they're hit with cold and heat at the same time, or whatever you're doing in your game. But you can also have a bow. Okay. And I ran myself out of space here. Here's the point. Oops. Sword is a class. It is not a method itself. Here's the point. here is your main class sitting at the top of your tree. All of your items. All potions are items. They all have access to the collect method, the drop method, the give method, the trade method. All equipment is also items. All armor is equipment. All weapons are equipment, which is also an item, which still has access to all of the things above it in the tree. And of course, bow is a weapon as well, right? So, if in your code you wrote something like, and we'll use down here for something in your code, let's say you had sword dot collect. Would you expect this to work? If it was set up like this, absolutely. You have your, because it would first look inside the sword class and it would say, does sword have a collect method? And Python would say, no, it doesn't. I'm going to look up the tree and I'm going to look inside the weapons class. Does weapons have a collect method? My microphone's hiding it. No, it doesn't. So I'm going to look up the tree. Does equipment have a dot collect method? No, it doesn't. I'm going to look up the tree. Does item have a collect method? Absolutely, 100% it does. I am going to run the code in this method with respect to the sword object that we're talking about in that particular time. Now, if you wrote something like potion, whatever, a particular potion that spawned in the world, don't forget it will be like a particular health potion 12, dot collect. Would you expect this to work? And in fact, it would work in exactly the same way, right? It would look in here and say, does this have a dot collect method? No. Let's look up the tree to its parent. Does item have a collect method? Absolutely it does. And here's the great part. Let's say dot collect is buggy for a particular character. You make a ghost character and they can still collect things and you don't want them to. In how many places do you need to update that method now for it to work for all of your items everywhere? All of your potions, all of your items, all of your equipment, all of your armor, all of your weapons, all of your swords, all of your bow. One single place. This is the power of inheritance, and you can end up with some really gnarly, interesting, I think they're great, trees like this, but they're useful, and they reduce the amount of code you need to write. They reduce the amount of code you need to debug and scour through and search through, and they reduce the amount of code you need to update if you want to add a new feature, reducing the amount of opportunities there is for a bug to enter your code. And if you look in the behind the scenes of Python, there are trees like this for lots of the different component parts of Python. This is what we call object-oriented programming. Each of these things are objects. A potion is, when you make a potion, you make an object, and it has methods and properties, and it also has a parent that it inherits from. Sooner or later, there will be the top of the tree, which in this case is item, that has all of these parents, children, has all of these children after it. So if you think like this, your program, your game will be better. And that's it for today. Hope you learned something. Apart from that, I'll see you in the next video.